Hi, everyone. Welcome to Truce Talks. We're talking outside today because I know all of us are inside. We're staying home, we're staying in, but it's a beautiful day here in Arizona, and I'm outside. The extraneous sounds you'll hear will be birds and wind chimes, hopefully no dogs. And I have very, very special guests today. Our very, very dear friends, Kat and Brad Moore. They run Short Leash hot dogs. That's an absolute classic business here in Phoenix, Arizona. Classic on several levels, and they've rolled. That's a food truck. I'm going to let them tell you about it, but they began the whole food truck movement here in the Phoenix area, and Kat, as a matter of fact, runs the coalition. It's a big deal. Welcome, you guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey. You're outside too, and it's just a gorgeous day.
Yes, perfect.
What I wanted to talk about a little bit, we met in the process of doing a small business training program. And you guys were the most innovative and, my God, energetic company there. You spun from one food truck. What do you got going now?
Well, we have a full-fledged brick and mortar location in the Melrose district of Phoenix, and then we still have the food truck operation. So kind of, we manage both at the same time.
And what they make, they haven't touched on it. They make the most amazing hot dogs you've ever had. If you have not had a Short Leash hot dog, I don't know where you are in Phoenix. You're just so out of touch. They do it with naan bread, and they roll from that into what they called rollover, following the dog motif. We had sit, stay, and then we had rollover with the donuts, and then we have sit, stay, the restaurant, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, Short Leash is the food truck, sit, stay is the restaurant, and rollover is the donuts.
Yeah, we started doing some donuts in them as a breakfast option. So it was originally a dessert option, but then it kept growing. So now we do full-fledged donuts every morning as well.
Your progression on that was just pretty amazing, to go from one food truck to what you're doing now and what's happening now.
Yeah.
It's been quite the whirlwind. We started 10 years ago, and
10 years in June. June will be our 10-year anniversary.
10-year anniversary here in June.
Wow.
And
hopefully we'll be open by then.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be reopening again in June.
Yeah.
So it's been quite the exciting roller coaster of a ride, so to speak.
How did you settle from your diverse backgrounds? Kat, you were a designer with a team that you supervised. Brad, you were in investment banking. Why hot dogs?
Well, during the housing crisis, that's basically exploded our world the first time. This is now the second time. we didn't think we'd be affected with the career we picked this time, but what we were doing, interior design, and then he was doing in banking. And during the housing crisis, our jobs were gone, so tried to figure out what we wanted to do. And I actually had started an organizing business, so I did that for a little bit. And then Brad was doing some contract banking, just kind of hopping around, and he hated it. And so I said, what do you want to do? What would make you happy? And he wanted to open a restaurant, which we thought we know nothing about it. It's too much. And then he started talking about the food truck craze that was going on in California. It hadn't hit here yet. And I said, no, absolutely not. Because the only thing I knew about food trucks were what I had seen at construction sites in the housing industry. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I didn't even understand it. And then one day I saw a little show, CBS Sunday Morning, one of our favorite shows.
Absolutely. And
they did a thing on food trucks, and Brad was actually playing soccer that day. And so I recorded it. When he came home, I said, is this what you're talking about? And he said, yeah. And I said, I could actually get into this. This is fun. It could be just a fun. We thought it would be a hobby.
We thought it'd be a little side hustle to begin with. Yeah, just to make a little extra money.
Yeah, we didn't think it would really do anything. And we, in fact, didn't tell anyone in our lives that we were even thinking this, because we knew that this was just so far-fetched. It wouldn't make sense. So we kind of have the philosophy in general, if it happens easily, it's meant to be, and, just kind of see what happens. So we started looking for a food truck online, and we found something relatively inexpensive. We got it and came up with a concept, and picked hot dogs because I'm not a chef. He loves my cooking, but I didn't want it to be stressful. I just wanted it to be fun food. Hot dogs are fun, fun and easy. It's all about the toppings. And he said, I will agree to do hot dogs if we get rid of the bun, if we do something different. So then we went on the quest for the type of bread. I bought every type of bread you could imagine, and we just ate hot dogs and tried to figure out, and we just kept coming back to the naan.
I think part of it too was when we were talking about doing hot dogs, hot dog vendors, they're a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. And they all pretty much do the same thing. So it's, relish, onion, tomato, or sometimes not even that. Or here in Phoenix, we do have some of the people that do the, Sonoran style. But outside of that, there's really not a whole lot of variety. So when we said we're going to do hot dogs, we just really thought, you know what, we're going to really trick them out and make them truly unique and try to create, something new that people haven't seen before. So.
Yeah, so we came up with everything. We got the truck wrapped, we got it inspected, and went through the whole process. And then we begged the Phoenix Public Market at the time. Remember, Cindy was running it.
Yeah.
And we begged her. I mean, I must have emailed her 2,000 times. Just please let us in, please let us in. And she said, it's not a hot dog market. We're not going to do that. We don't want food trucks. And then finally, she needed to fill space, and she invited us to do it. And it was a Saturday morning. And we were upset because we thought we don't have any breakfast food. It's an early morning market. We went ahead, we came up with one breakfast item, and we did it. And my goal was to sell 30 hot dogs, and Brad's was to sell 5. So we packed 30 hot dogs.
Shows you how low our expectations really were.
We packed up the truck with 30 hot dogs, and we went and did the market. And the editor of the food and lifestyle section for the Arizona Republic was like the third customer
one of
in
our
line.
first customers in line.
And
wow.
We sold out, and they asked to do an article about us, and it just took off. It was insane. And afterwards, Cindy came to me and said, I didn't think it was a hot dog market, but you proved me wrong. So we were the first gourmet food truck in Phoenix.
Now, I remember because at the time, Truce had a booth at the Phoenix Public Market. And I remember seeing the line stretching out. Everybody was in your line. And
so
I
fun.
remember being able to sort of sneak around the back and say, oh, can I have a hot dog?
VIP.
The VIP treatment.
Yeah. And you built from that. You got to the place where you were literally coordinating all the food trucks in town and creating events.
Yeah, we started a coalition after that. Brad actually runs it. I run the event company. He runs the coalition. So.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those things where we just, as the food truck business started to grow a little bit, we just started getting inquiries from larger and larger, office complex or large companies. And it got to a point where we were getting calls for engagements that we weren't able to do by ourselves.
Yeah.
And so as other trucks started to come online, you kind of start to develop some friendships and some rapport with other operators. You get a big call from, let's say Intel, and they've got 4,000 employees. Well, you can't do that by yourself. So then you pick up the phone, you call some other operators and say, hey, let's go do this together. So kind of a little bit of power in numbers type thing. And so we were able to take on bigger customers because of that. And that's when the coalition and Kat's business, Best in Show, kind of started to evolve from there. So, yeah.
Tell me about Best in Show, Kat.
So Best in Show was when I realized the coalition doesn't do events, and they can't manage it. It's just volunteering. It's basically Brad and this other guy named Jason that run it. And so I wanted to do events. I had a little knack for it. I created the first Food Truck Friday event, which was at the public market. So I kind of had some idea of what it took, and I'm organized. And so I started my event company, and Brad was not thrilled about it. And I said, I'm gonna do it anyway. So I started it and started, my niche is hotel events. So I do a lot of high-end hotel events with food trucks. It's kind of like a fancy cocktail party, but with food trucks. So that's kind of my niche. But yeah, I just started developing relationships with the food truck. I don't even get to meet most of them, but I'll read their menus and see what their concept is, and if I like it, and if I can book them. And so then I book over 200 food trucks now in the Valley.
So oftentimes what happens is that, like, if a hotel reaches out to Kat and they want to do a big event for, a big company that's doing a conference in their hotel, they don't want to have to deal with trying to coordinate, 15 or 18 food trucks. And so Kat's kind of a one-stop shop. So she manages
I vet
all
them
of that
and I make sure they're okay and manage the whole
and get
thing.
them all booked and lined up. And the nice thing is the hotel doesn't have to think about it. They just, can just set out the buffet tables and,
That's it.
wait for the trucks to roll in. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
It's really quite an amazing concept that you built from one food truck. How many food trucks do you have now?
Now we have 3, but because of what's going on right now, we're probably going to sell a couple. And we were managing the soundbite truck, but they are actually selling the soundbite truck as well. So,
Wow. Yeah.
hard times for everybody.
Yeah. So, I think coming out of this whole coronavirus thing, we're kind of starting to reevaluate our life and how much we work and see how we can, maybe
How poor we are.
see how we can kind of streamline some things and make our life a little easier going forward after this. Hit the reset
Yeah.
button.
We used to just say you're just the hardest working people that we know in the small business arena. You guys always had something going on. Trying to book you for a dinner or, God forbid, a vacation was really, really challenging because you had so much going on and it was so spread out over the calendar.
Yeah.
Finding little openings was a challenge for you, I know.
Well, coronavirus took care of that for us.
It did.
Boy.
And, that was an eye-opening experience because, when we got hit, when we were both in the housing industry, when we were, banking and design, I really thought we picked a bulletproof, everyone eats, restaurant will be fine, like we're recession proof. And when this first started hitting Arizona, we realized how quickly our book of business, I had us booked out through next year. And the events just all of, April disappeared, March disappeared. It was shocking. It happened so quickly. So that was an eye-opening experience. So we've reevaluated our need for busyness and we're not going to do that again.
Yeah, try to find that work-life balance that we all strive to find,
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, we do. And that's one of the things we've noticed too. We've kind of closed in on, wait a minute, what can we get off our plates and on somebody else's plate and not live at this pace?
Exactly. So much. And I think every small business person does this and goes through this and they're, you have to be busy because that's how you survive, but it's just, is it worth it? I don't think so. So we're going to definitely cut back. We want to sell 2 food trucks, just have the one because it's our, safety net, and then the restaurant, but limit our hours a little bit, just kind of keep it simpler.
And people can get the donuts in the restaurant, right?
Yep.
And I'm telling you people, if you have not had that pistachio donut, you really have not lived. Denis, who does not like donuts because he's French, he does not like them. He will do anything for a pistachio donut. He's like Dexter the dog. Donut,
anything to make
donut.
I have some work I need done. I'll bribe him. So the donuts are more Brad's thing. He's the baker. I'm the cook. So he didn't realize he was a baker. It was when he kept buying me baking books and I kept saying, I don't want to bake. I have no interest in baking. And then one day I realized, I think you're a baker.
I'm the secret baker.
Yeah. He didn't realize it. So then he just started playing around with the donuts and
Do you make those donuts? Did you develop those recipes?
Yeah. But there's a couple we had a friend do for us.
We had a friend that helped out when we were first starting to do them. We were looking for some inspiration.
So that came from all but like 2 of them or 3. So
we just kind of, and it's just, like everything in your business, it just kind of, you tweak it over time and you try to, the first batch of donuts we did they were amazing right out of the fryer, but then at the same time, it's like they didn't have quite the shelf life that we needed to. And so then you just kind of start, tweaking and researching and seeing what you can do to make things, last, for a few hours or a day in a pastry case and stuff like that. So it's kind of evolved a little bit over time, but I think we've got it really dialed in now.
I think you do too.
Yeah.
And you also added a full bar to Sit Stay. And Sit Stay, you guys, is over on 7th Ave in Melrose, almost right underneath the Melrose street sign for those of you who are locals and checking us out.
Yeah, we have a great beer program. We have over 100 craft cans and 10 taps and draft cocktails and all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah,
we're good at drinking.
We're good at drinking
and eating.
So are you opening up any part of the bar? Are you serving? I'm seeing a lot of bars are serving outside.
No, we're hanging tight right now. Our biggest concern is we want to, also, I'm like, can everyone just relax? Like, let's just take a minute, take a beat. You know, we're going to make our plan for the reopen, but we want to make sure we have product and money to do so. So we didn't want to do anything. We didn't want to spin any wheels. So we're just hanging tight, kind of making a plan.
Yeah, we decided not to do any of the takeout stuff. We just didn't see it was going to be very difficult to manage. And also a majority of our team was part-time college students.
Right.
And so a lot of them, when they closed the dorms, they moved back home. A lot of people just went back to live with their parents. And so right now we're just taking care of, you know, our core kind of 4 managers.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll
just making a plan. Yeah.
Just
so we don't really know yet
what it'll look like when we reopen.
Yeah. We're just kind of watching the news and trying to see what's the best and safest thing to do. Because there's no regulations. We don't know, like, what does it look like? Do we have to move our seating? Do we get to open the dining room? Are we going to have to be outside? Like, we don't know. So we're just kind of laying low.
So we have some real official guidelines as to what it looks like. It's hard to even pick a date, but you know, we'll see.
I don't think we can. You've got these people, quite frankly, running around protesting things without any protection of any kind.
Horrifying.
And that's going to slow things down, I think, incredibly, because there'll be little hot spots.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're helping at all.
Helicopter.
Got a helicopter overhead.
We're outside.
Very loud one.
Yeah,
it's kind of freaking us out a little bit because I feel like, you know, things are going to open and then close right again. So
yeah.
It's going to mess it up for everyone, but I don't know. People are uppity. I don't get it. But
well, I think the tricky thing is you almost have to make multiple sets of plans. So, you know, what happens?
The scenario.
You know, here we have to, scenario A is like a, you know, full-fledged opening. Scenario B is, you know, what happens you just open partially, and then what happens if they put you back at a stay home order type thing?
Yeah.
How do you kind of scale up and then scale down, you know, dramatically? And so I think you have to have multiple different scenarios you know, played out. So how you're going to respond to each one.
So we're just kind of playing through those and looking at what a schedule would look like. And, you know, we'll just be ready when it's time.
Right. You know? But so you're feeling, I'm sensing that you're sort of centered and comfortable with that, and making these scenarios is right down your alley. You do that. You're a planner. You're a big organizer.
Yeah, we try to be forward thinking, and we've always tried to see what's coming up, you know, and evaluate. So we're watching, we're listening, we're talking to people, and kind of just what's going on. And we're also listening to ourselves, like, what do we need? And, you know, we're trying to make the best of a horrible situation and try to, you know, making Brad do all the house stuff that he hasn't done. Years.
All your projects.
All my projects.
My honey-do list.
Yeah, we're just trying to, like, you know, absorb. So we feel optimistic that things will reopen. We love what we do. It made us really realize how much we love what we do. We love our business. We love our team. It's just a great thing for us. So we're just going to kind of make that plan and not stress about the hubbub, and try to really listen to the best, you know, practices.
You know, and we've talked about it too. I mean, how can you, in a way, plan when you have no idea how it's going to roll out, what the market's going to look like, what this world is going to be looking like?
Right.
You know, we still have, don't get me going, but, you know, we have no idea what's on the other side of this for any of us. So I love that
crazy.
It is. And it happened so fast.
So fast. I still can't. You know, when Ebola happened, like, you hear of things, but you're like, I mean, of course, typical American, like, it's not going to hit us. And then this one, I'm still in shock. I still think, like, after we closed the restaurant, I mean, both of us were doubting, did we do the right thing? Should we have done this? Is this real? And then you turn on the news, and we try not to watch too much.
We closed a few days earlier than most.
Most people. Yeah, we just were like, let's. Well, we had just had our payroll, so we were like, this is a good time to close. But then we turn on the news and we're like, yep, this is real. And it's hard because it's so gorgeous here, you know, and
this is would have been our busy season.
yeah. And
Yeah.
we're, you know, eating meals outside and enjoying the weather and gardening. And then you watch the news and you're like, yep, it's still happening. Yeah. It's just insane. Yeah. So.
I think the hardest thing as a business owner too is you have to think, okay, you know, what does all of this look like 12 months from now? If this, you know, if there's a, you know, how apprehensive are people going to be to go outside or to be in, you know, confined spaces with other people? So, you know, even if you reopen and your sales are half of what they were prior to the closing, you know, can you manage your business that way? Is it feasible? Is it just going to be basically be me and Kat and
3 other people,
a couple of other people? You know,
oh, we'll be there.
Yeah, but,
you know, we'll be there.
Yeah. So it's just a tricky thing to think about it that way too. You know,
yeah.
all the moving parts and what a long-term plan would look like.
Yeah. So
what resources would that take?
It's an amazing challenge, and it's frightening. I still find myself really just kind of unwilling to put myself in some situations.
Yeah.
And
isn't that weird? I never thought. It's weird not to see someone and hug them or shake their hand too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been strange. Like we saw you the other day and I just wanted to go hug you and I'm like, oh, you know. Yeah. We that's true. It is weird to think. And then you think morbidly, you know, okay, what if I do get sick and what's going to happen? Well, I'm sure we're all going to get sick. What's going to happen and how far will it go? And so we're trying to stay healthy. We're drinking too much, but we're trying to stay healthy.
I think the entire country is. Oh my God.
I know.
The country is.
I wish I owned a winery right now.
I know.
You know, I'm sitting here and I'm outside and I'm looking into the garden. My view is the chicken coop and the lavender bed. And I'm thinking, you know, we would never have this opportunity if we were still running full tilt boogie at our business.
That's true.
We really have a chance for you to build your garden, for you to get your projects done.
It almost felt like cosmically the world needed to just settle down and pay attention. You know, like don't you go through that with yourself where you're like, I need to center and recharge, and it feels like the whole world just needs to do the same thing. Like it's all just calm down. Take care of ourselves, be healthier.
Take a beat.
Yeah. Well, a couple of final questions for you. Number one, the question I ask every time: what are you watching on TV? What are you streaming?
What are we not watching?
What are we not watching?
We watch all of Netflix.
We've seen the whole internet at this point. We've seen
it all.
We've seen it all.
We tend to like murder mysteries. The 5 was one we really liked.
A great short series.
Yeah, Ozark we love. There's one, my favorite one was like aliens and zombies and all that stuff. So it was
Kat's very well prepared for the apocalypse.
Yes, yeah, I know how to handle things except for a pandemic. I've not seen but if the zombies come. No, we the War of the Worlds series.
That was a good one.
Excellent. That was really, really good.
Still going.
But yeah.
Have you seen the previews for that one called Loop? The Loop?
The Loop.
No. Jonathan Pryce. It looked kind of interesting. We should check that out.
It's on Netflix?
Yeah. Everything is on Netflix.
We like design shows without drama, and we just watched Stay Here with Genevieve. Can't remember her last name. Loved that. That was
a fun show. They fix up short-term rentals. Outrageous Homes is another one. We do like the design. Extraordinary Homes.
Oh, what's the other design one?
We do like the design shows. It kind of makes us feel inspired.
Favorite was Extreme. What's the one with the British guy? He goes all over the world.
Grand Design.
Grand Design is one of my all-time favorites. Yeah. Just the neatest, amazing homes. That one's fantastic.
Okay. All right. All right.
We've been watching those design shows in the morning, so then we wake up, we feel inspired, and like, okay, now I'm going to get out of bed.
Then I'm like, Brad, paint this.
I'm going to start putting on hanging some shelves and floating some drywall.
Okay. But the other question I love to ask, if you could have dinner with one person, living or dead, in the whole world, who would you cook for? Who would you invite over to your house to have something out on your beautiful patio?
Mine would be Albert Brooks.
I knew you were going to say that.
I love him. He's I think he is the funniest man alive. I love. Probably my favorite movie all time is Lost in America. Have you seen that movie?
Oh yeah, where she loses the nest egg.
Yes.
Anything he does, I could like he doesn't even have to talk. I just think he's hilarious. Who would
Brad?
you be?
I don't know. You know, I honestly don't know.
Come on.
I'd probably
Would it be someone funny or someone
Could be.
historical? Oh, what about? I bet him.
Yeah, he would be. Oh, yeah, that's true.
His favorite author.
My favorite author is Bill Bryson.
Oh yes,
Yeah. I think
yes.
he's hilarious.
He is hilarious.
Yeah, so I'm reading I'm starting his other book, the short story of A Brief History on Everything. That's what it's called. Or
Have
something
you read
like
that one?
Not to be confused with Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time.
No,
Yeah,
this
no.
is yeah.
It's a little different.
So that would be a good one.
That'd be a good one.
That would be a good one. I'd like to sit
Okay.
for a little
So,
bit.
Who would yours be?
Who would yours be?
Actually, it's. Oh God, what an interesting question.
Back at you, girl.
Back at me. If I could have dinner with anyone. Oh God, I'm totally unprepared for that. I know Louise Penny. She's the author I'm currently reading. She's a Canadian mystery writer. And they're sort of cozies. They're all taking place in this one village. But she's extraordinary how she weaves like cultural information through it, and the relationship with the United States, because their village is just above Vermont.
Okay.
So it's very interesting, the Canadian perspective of what goes on this side vis-a-vis crime.
Ah,
So I'd like to talk to her about that.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Well, my dears, I thank you so much.
We love you.
Love
Thank
you.
you for including
Love
us.
Thank you.
Oh
Yeah.
God, how long have I been trying to get you to
I
do
know.
something?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad Denis wasn't around, so that's a good.
Yeah, well, because he does cheat. Yeah. Well, thank you, dear ones, Kat
Thank
and
you.
Brad Moore from Short Leash, Sit, Stay, and Roll Over. And everyone, please stay safe. Stay home. Wash your hands. We're coming back with a vengeance. Truce will be back. It's working right now, and it's kind of blowing our minds how it's working. But you have to take care of yourselves. You have to stay home. You have to wash your hands. You are loved.
You are too.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.
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 See you later.
Yes, indeed.